and a very warm welcome to you all. Today we have a solid 18 karat gold IWC from the 1940s, which taught me a lesson about being too cocky and presumptuous. So stay tuned as I ruin a very rare and low production movement known as the IWC Calibre 60.
Is that the International Whaling Commission?
No, silly, it's the International Watch Company from Schaffhausen.
So as you can see, with the crown pushed in fully, it stays in hand setting mode. If I pull it out fully, it's in hand setting mode. So I suspect that this stem is a little bit too short. Somebody's probably watched one of my videos and thought, oh, I'll put a little bit of brush on the back, because it's a very round shape. I think it will mirror the back completely, or it just doesn't look good on a domed back like this, I think, without an intentional step for that.
What a gorgeous looking dial. Oof.
These hands look a bit strange, like they've been painted or something.
The reason why I've decided to do this IWC, you guys remember when I posted that community post and asked you if you wanted to see the Cartier get restored, or the IWC, or the Tag Heuer? The cheeky ones amongst you said, duh, we want to see all three. So here is second. Oh, nice. We did the Cartier, and then we will hopefully do the Tag Heuer soon. Make sure you subscribe for that one. Ooh, argent. So it's a silver dial. That's cool. We have a silver dial. We have a gold case. And we have a beautifully finished movement. Very simple movement. It's got its individual little cocks there. Got the Geneva stripes.
Seems a bit jammed somewhere.
So it's fully wound, but nothing seems to be working. Let's let the power down. And the click. Right, where shall I start? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Make up your mind, Mr. Joe. Yeah, let's start here. Some long ass screws. I'm gonna go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a Joe by his toe. So the difference between a bridge and a cock. A bridge, you can see it's pivoted at 2 points, whereas a cock is just pivoted at 1 point. Hence why it's called a cock and not a bridge, for those of you who didn't know that. That screw is being a bit stubborn. Why are you being stubborn for, bro? Tiny compared to the others. And we have a little spring here as well. Okay guys, watch carefully at the spring. This is where the blind bat bugs up this rare movement. So I've serviced many watches from this era, and a lot of them have this pinion system for the center seconds with the friction spring that sits on top of the pinion. So without having a closer look, I thought I'm a clever boy and this must be one of those springs found in a watch from this era. Thanks for making a mockery out of me, IWC. Where did that spring go? Is there a spring there? Oh no. Is it gone? I think I've lost that spring. If there was a spring there.
So you buggered this up. What an absolute tit. I thought this was a screw, but it's not. Like a screw head on that side and a screw head on that side, so one would automatically think it was a pinion friction spring that a lot of watches used during this era, where the spring sits on top of the pinion and you screw it off. But here, just a bolt that pushes out like so. You can see I've broken the spring off, and this thing is tiny, tiny, tiny. So I can either order another one in, or it gives us an opportunity to make something. So might have to drill that out. The smallest drill bit I have is 0.3 mil. I mean, I'm using my macro lens here to see this thing. I need to drill it just there. I can't see that it comes out the other way, or does it? So then I remembered I was sent this package a while back from this company, Endostar. Perfect time to open this up. There it is. So they didn't ask for a review or anything, but they were probably just hoping that when I use it, people will see their name there. Where is it gone? There it is. Can you see it? There it is. It's absolutely tiny, this thing. When I looked at it through my loop and through the zoom lens, I couldn't even see that it goes all the way through out the other way. So now, instead of drilling that out, I can just push it out. So let me just give you an idea of how small this thing is, so that, oh, it's magnetized, so that you can get an idea of how small the actual spring was that was attached to it. So the big end is 0.7 millimeters. The skinnier part is 0.5 millimeters. And the length is about 1.2 mil. Oh no! Pinged it. Where did you go, my lovely? Show yourself. But I found a screw. Show yourself. I'm gonna try to film this again, and if not, then I'll have to do it off camera. Things I do. Oh! Now let's use our microscope. I need a micro SD card for this, so for now we'll just have to be recording through the screen. So this is the big end, that is the small end. I'll try and push it out from the small end and see if we can get it out. And this is like microsurgery. So I'm just using a broken oiler. Oh yeah! Ha 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 ha, look at that. I wish I had a micro SD card, then I could have captured this in full glory. But there it is. So can you guys see where it is? There it is. That's the broken spring. That's what we're dealing with, ladies and gents. Quantum realm. So one part of that is the broken spring, and the other part is a small wedge. And when I say small, so that's how thick it is. It's there somewhere. So that's how big of a spring I need to find. Just looks like dirt. If I tell you guys what I'm going to use as a spring, you're going to chase me down the road. I'll tell you anyway. Some cheap hands. They're quite springy. So that is about 0.1 of a mil. I'll use that. It should be okay for now until I can find a replacement. So I'll just prepare the end. Need to file it down a little bit push it back in that little hole and then stick a wedge in there, and then we'll worry about the length later. And there it is. Oh, messing around with a £4,000 watch with stuff like this. It's only stuff. We want it about, and the pinion sits here. I think I did a Rolex and an Omega with the same setup, but IWC made it so that the spring sits on the side of the pinion. So I found a technical sheet for a Calibre 89. There isn't anything for a Calibre 60. It's about that big. So that's what it's supposed to look like. Nothing special, just looks like a strand of hair. My one looks much better. Yeah, IWC, get yourself some of that.
Looks like Popeye's little pipe.
Let's try it again. Okay, we'll manipulate it once it's in. So there you go, bush fix 101. Now I can finish dismantling the rest of the movement. Pick up where I left off. Purpose of this movement was to make something bulletproof. Simple and robust. I think I'll leave that in. Probably only need to remove this if it was damaged and you wanted to replace it. Otherwise I don't see any point of taking it off. Look how thick everything is. That was the whole purpose and idea of this movement, was to make it robust. Look how big these screw heads are. Look at the crown wheel system is quite unique to this as well. There you go, that's the crown wheel, pretty neat. Look at all that work. How come they missed out this bit? Look at that, the lid on the mainspring barrel, C60, Calibre 60. This movement was only in production for a very short while. It's always nice to work on something that you haven't worked on before. It's always easy to bugger stuff up as well. If you're going to assume things, which is what I did, I assumed that friction spring would be similar to everything else from that era, but obviously I was wrong. But one man's misery is another man's opportunity, I guess. So we all got to see a little bush fix. Out. Bada boom. Probus scafutia. Probus scafutia. Have a look at, see what that means. Also, look at that gorgeous blue hairspring. It's nice, huh? Yeah. Ooh, beautiful. There's a cutout here, obviously to open it. There's a little cutout here as well with a hook. Someone's just run off with my motorbike. I don't have a bloody motorbike. There's all the parts. So there's a few ways to sort out this short stem.
You can use these little stem extenders.
You can order a new stem, or we can try a different crown, because I don't think this crown is original, and I think it's a bit too big as well for this case. So let's just put it all together and have a look. Let's close it up. I think it would look really good with a little onion crown. So let's find some crowns.
Normally, most modern crowns are about a tap 9, but because this is from the 40s, I think it's a tap 10. So I've managed to find this old thing, which is a tap 10. So I think I'll have a go at making that look bling. I think that would look quite nice with this case. What do you guys reckon? So I've given that a little wash, and I probably need to polish it up and then replate it. I've got some really nice onions, some modern onions in stock. Sadly, they don't really have a tube like this one does. So I forgot I had another box of vintage crowns, and I found this one, which is slightly smaller than this one that I was going to use. What do you guys reckon? Is the bigger one or the smaller one? Show you guys how quick and easy it is. So you can see why previously they brushed finish the center. There's a lot of these little dings in there. So since I've got the Dremel out for the hands, I'll see if I can pull some of those dings out. Just needs a little wash. So there you go. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Why you would want to skin a cat in the first place is beyond me. Ooh, there's a few marks there. A flimsy piece like this is quite easy to deform it and distort it. So I've done most of the work using the Dremel. What we're gonna do about these hands, I like the fact that they're black and they pop quite well on the dial, but it looks like they were just
painted over by someone. So I can either strip away that black paint, they'll be gold, or just leave them as they are. I think I'll give them a wash, and if the paint starts coming off, then I've got an excuse to remove all of it.
That's some of the paint that's come off, and we're left with the original hands. Needs a bit of a tidy up. Some more paint.
So since I was going to gold plate the crowns, I thought 2 birds, 1 stone, I'll plate the hands and see how they look against the dial. I initially thought the hands were made out of brass and spent hours cleaning them and polishing them and then gold plating them.
Remember your cousin cussed you?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I know, he seemed like, I want to embarrass myself on YouTube.
The gap in, he said the gap in your teeth are so wide that they're social distancing. Oh, that was so funny though. Don't worry, they'll close up. Don't worry.
So as you can see, the plated hands look a lot better than before, and they looked half decent against the dial, but I still wanted to honour the plan of the previous tinkerer to have the hands a contrasting shade, and then I realised that the hands were steel, so I removed all the gold and decided to blue them instead.
Just do that tip now. These hands are quite rounded, so just using the Dremel to get all that gold off. Do the same with this one. Now I'll just relocate the tape and do the tip on that little bit that I've missed. And now I've shown you guys how to do all this by hand, and this is just an alternative way. And the hands are steel, so the hands are quite curved as well, so that's why instead of me just rubbing it flat on a surface, the Dremel works a little bit better here because it can get onto the sides with and all around the curve. And the second one, I've gone a bit more heavy on that one with the tape. So, got my hands there, nice and cleaned. Make sure all the grease and everything is off. Something to quench the hands in. Got some heat.
For some reason, I decided to do all 3 of them in one go, which was not a good idea.
Not great, so I'm going to start again.
I think these hands are way too small for brass shavings, as the heat wasn't dissipating evenly across the hands, due to some parts not being in contact with the shavings.
Going stroke on that. So instead of blue, I've gone slightly further onto the blackish side, the darker side. Gone to the dark side. Let's start again. All polished and washed again, and we'll give it another try. See if we can get it a bit better this time. So this time, instead of using all the brass shavings,
I'm just going to use a piece of brass. I'm just going to put a little bit of brush shavings because the seconds hand is not flat, it's got a little bit of a post on it. Bit better than before, so I think I'll call it a day there. Bluing is an art form in itself, and I don't think I have the full bus fare to do an artisan level job.
So this is a pretty old mainspring, might even be the original one, so I'll just put a little bit of grease on it. So one side is to come out that slit and the other side has to come out of that slit.
Now for all my lovely viewers from across the pond in America, you may be interested to know that the International Watch Company has its heritage rooted in America. It was founded in 1868 by an American engineer, Florentine Jones. Jones was a manager at America's then leading watchmaker E. Howard and Clock Company. Jones went to Switzerland with the idea of combining the craftsmanship of the Swiss watchmakers with modern American technology and techniques.
Okay, so you can see it's actually come through the slit now. Now I can put the arbor in. There we go, both sides. Let us remove. Come close to Abu, come on. Don't be miserable, come on. You have to be patient, mate. You can't just ask for something and expect it to just land in your lap. Come on, I'll buy you some cards, come on.
Now, compared to most movements which are produced in their millions, this Calibre 60 only had a production run of less than 13,000 pieces, and so it's understandable that it has never previously graced my workbench. And this rarity also means that there isn't much information about this caliber out there. But if you search for IWC Calibre 89, there are many glowing articles about it. It is a very well respected movement due to its simplicity and robustness. The serial number puts our Calibre 60 to around 1943. The following year, in 1944, a gentleman dude left his job at Vacheron Constantin to take up a new position at IWC as the technical director. His name was Albert Peloton. I've got a Peloton. He doesn't have a Peloton. Well, what's that thing I ride every day then? Dude, that's a BMX. The Cal 89 is credited as being the brainchild of Peloton, which went into production in 1948, 5 years after our Cal 60. But if you look at the Cal 89, it looks very similar to the Cal 60, but with the Inca block and more familiar winding setup. So I suspect that the Cal 60 was used by Peloton to develop the Cal 89. So it's a bit strange that the Cal 60 is not mentioned anywhere in relation to the development of the famous Cal 89. As if the Cal 60 was some illegitimate child that everybody wanted to keep a secret, locked up in a tower somewhere, so that the real legitimate heir to the throne can be born. When in fact the Cal 60 was probably the father of the Cal 89. I am your father! Maybe there is a very interesting story behind all this, or maybe my research just sucks. I would love to be educated by you guys on this topic. So please, if you have any knowledge about this movement, let us all know in the comment section.
This is my message to you.
You can do it yourself. Why don't you do an unboxing video? That thing looks as useful as a pair of stilettos and a bouncy castle.
It's a stiletto.
You know, them shoes your mum wears with the spikes on them.
Those are called heels.
Your mum went on a bouncy castle once.
Yeah, what happened?
We never got a deposit back.
You mean a blade?
Hold on.
Wow, no wonder this is heavy. No wonder this is heavy.
You are like the noisiest person ever. And so that's in. Now I can screw it down properly. Are you ready for the heartbeat? Come on. Come on. Let's give it some juice. Move it away slowly. So after demagnetizing it, we've got good amplitude, good rate. The beat error is out slightly, so I'll fiddle around with that and see if I can get that better.
So I'm nearly done here, friends, and around about now in the show, you're all looking for some comforting words of wisdom from a familiar fool on a horrific situation taking place on our little blue planet. Now, I don't wear gold, but if I did, oof, those teardrop lugs on this watch. What do you guys think of this vintage piece? Let me know in the comments. So thank you all for coming along on another little ride with me, and I hope you all enjoyed this one. I pray for peace, and as importantly, I pray for justice and the truth. For those of you walking through a storm right now, hold your head up high and walk on with hope in your heart, because at the end of that storm, there will be a beautiful blue sky. And when you do walk on with hope in your heart, know that you will never walk alone. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. And if the Almighty wills, I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra a bit.